RESA TV presents in 3, 2, 1. Dateline Schools with your host, Terry Harrington.
Well, this weekend, Dateline Schools had the opportunity to reflect back on the year 2013 and look ahead to the brand new year coming up later this week. And to help us with all this insight, my special guest is Superintendent St. Clair County RESA, Dan DeGrow. And Dan, as we closed up the program yesterday, you were talking about this new program that RESA is helping with Port Huron to keep kids in the school even if they move around those areas. Is that a start of a trend of not just looking at the academic piece of education, but look at these other things that influence a child's education that we may not have been looking at before?
I hope so. One of the things we've talked about with superintendents has been year-round school. Croslex is doing it. There were 35 districts this year that are doing it in the state. And essentially, it's the same number of days, but you're never off more than 2 weeks. And there have been two 20-year studies, and they show the same thing, that especially for poorer kids, taking the summer off at the elementary level in particular is devastating. One study showed that by ninth grade, 2/3 of the achievement gap between poor kids and the middle and upper class is caused by summers off. Now, there's no reason to take summers off other than when we started public school early 20th century, we needed farm help. And to take it off at the elementary level in particular is just so devastating. All kids regress, some a lot more than others, but all kids regress some. So it makes no sense. The only real cost is one-time air conditioning. So I hope that becomes a trend. And there are other things. For example, science now tells us that it's not productive for high school kids to be awakened and put in class by 7:30. Something you and I probably knew when we went to college, right? For teenagers don't function. Well, it turns out there's a reason we didn't like 8 o'clocks in college, and there's a reason kids don't function as well. So, yeah, my high school probably shouldn't start till 8:45 or 9. And we'd like to see some experimentation in that. And then, another one's just what's in the classroom. For example, if you were going to read a book, who in their right mind would get a school desk and sit in it to read? Nobody. They're not comfortable. The setting isn't conducive. So there's a lot of research that talks about what classrooms should look like. And I think you're going to see a lot of changes in the next 5 years. I haven't even talked about online and other things, but to go directly that are somewhat funding, but they're really not funding. It just involves looking at why we've done things a certain way and if it makes sense anymore.
More tomorrow. For Dateline Schools, I'm Terry Harrington.